soy. Contigo me siento en control. Eres el balance en este mundo, poco humor. Se volvió ese chico que habló en mis canciones. Esas madrugadas y hermosas conversaciones. Se volvió ese chico que quería ver otra vez. Y me enamoré a volverlo a ver. Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Me diste alas para que vuele, pero motivos para quedarme. Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Tú me curas cuando más me duele. Sé que siempre has sabido amarme.
Eso de tortolito no queda bien, bebé. Mejor de tus amigas diciendo que no ven. Esto sea duradero, que sea algo sincero. Que un perro no cambia y eso es lo que es él. Pero tú lo viste, mi amor. Tú viste mi mejor versión. Tú hiciste lo que nadie quería. Ser inspo para mis poesías. Secreto que tú solo sabes. Chico con par de maldades. Pero sincero, verdadero, baby. Secreto que tú solo sabes. Momentos que siento reales. Yo lo prefiero que en un largo tiempo sea tu caballero.
Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Me diste alas para que vuele, pero motivos para quedarme. Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Tú me curas cuando más me duele. Sé que siempre has sabido amarme. Se volvió ese chico que habló en mis canciones. Esas madrugadas y hermosas conversaciones. Se volvió ese chico que quería ver otra vez. Y me enamoré a volverlo a ver. Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Me diste alas para que vuele, pero motivos para quedarme. Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Me diste alas para que vuele, pero motivos para quedarme. Tú me ves como nadie más, bebé. Tú me curas cuando más me duele. Sé que siempre has sabido amarme.
Hello, everyone. I have had my fair share of bee scares, bee experiences, and legend has it that I have a scar on the side of my face that a bee left there. So today, we're talking about bees. We're learning this. I'm demystifying things that were told to me when I was little and way more. I'm bringing you all with me. But before we dive into that content, for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Ana Gil, and I am a headshots photographer and video producer. And what that means is that I can help you create or teach you how to create amazing looking videos with great content for you and your brand. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you to Master Beekeeper and Honeybee Removal Specialist, Bill Kaufman. Hello, Bill.
Hi.
Welcome to the
Thanks for having
show. Yes. Look at you. So you're a master beekeeper. I want to learn all about that, and I want you to demystify things that were told to me. And if it's true that bees are that powerful, that will leave a scar on the side of my face.
Sure. They depending on what they are, they can pack quite a punch in their sting.
All right. So
raise
Bill,
a welt.
before we get into all of that, I want you to please share your background with us.
All right. Well, I started beekeeping about 16 years ago. I had this idea because of Y2K and everything was going to do this great big reset thing. And I wanted to be able to have sugar. And I had a sweet tooth. So I said, I'm going to get honeybees. It turns out that it took me a few more years after Y2K to get honeybees because I was really quite terrified. I'd have night terrors and sweats and everything, worried about swarming insects. But one day I just said, you know what? It's time. I'm going to do this. And it was terrifying for quite some time. So I started with the bees then. And then over the years, I've become more comfortable with it. And I've been self-employed doing home remodels for quite some time. And then one day I was doing someone's bathroom and they said, hey, I got bees in my attic. I said, really? I can help you out with those.
Okay.
And that was my very first bee removal, like beehive removal. It took me over a week. And then once I realized I could do both construction and beekeeping in one job, that was it for me. So it's been
they
that
go hand
ever
in
since.
hand.
Right. And so now I can do a removal instead of a week. It takes me a few hours. So I've increased my skills and I've learned so much more about the bees and in relationship with people and who we are and what they can do for us.
That's what we're gonna do. I wanna learn that, and I want you guys to learn that. So if you guys have any questions as we go through, please feel free to ask us. Bill will be glad to answer them for you. He loves it. He educates in schools and he goes all over the place educating about bees. And with that said, actually, Bill, congratulations. You were elected president of a bee association or something like that?
Yep, the last meeting we had, which are on second Tuesdays of the month. And this is what, May? No, this is April. So the May meeting was an election. And I was on the phone. I wasn't paying attention. And at the end of the meeting, they said, hey, guess what? Congratulations. You got it. So next month, I get to be president of that club, which is the Mid-York Beekeepers out in Oriskany. They meet at the Cornell Cooperative Extension. That's
great. And you graduated from Cornell University as well with a degree in bee. Talk to us about that real quick, because I didn't even know that you could graduate with a degree,
Well, it's not a master's degree in the sense of a college certificate. It is more a diploma. It's more of a certificate that I went through a class. It was about a 2-year class with online field instruction and different testing that had to be done to show that I knew what I was talking about when it comes to bees. And it's just, Cornell saying, hey, yep, this guy knows what he's doing.
Okay, that's amazing. That's great. And I mean, I have seen your stuff, and I'm gonna show it to you guys. And yes, I will say you do know what you're doing. But okay, so before we get into that, let's just ask one fact. I just want you to tell me. So you said, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, you mentioned that there are 20,000 types of bees in the entire world. Yeah?
Yes. Oh, there's over 20,000 known types of bees in the world.
Okay. And of all of those, in our region, there's only 420?
Yeah, right around 420 that we know of. Of course, there's always things we don't see. And really in popularity, there's just a handful that everybody sees on a regular basis.
So, okay. So here in Central New York, there's only one type of honeybee out of all those?
One type? Yeah. Actually, in the United States, there's really only one type of honeybee. And it's just one that you see all these boxes and all this pollination that goes on and all the honey you see in your store. It all comes from the honeybee, which is called Apis mellifera. And that's just where it all comes from. That's where that's where my specialty lies, is with that one bee.
Absolutely fascinating. So it all started because in 2K you're like, just like when the pandemic happened, right? We're like, oh, we're gonna be out of food, and you were like, I need sugar. Yeah.
Well, not the pandemic. I guess the pandemic is this generation's version of Y2K.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's go to this because we have a whole bunch of questions behind the scenes. So before we get into one of my stories, right? One of the things that people want to know is why do bees sting if they know they're going to die? I mean, I don't know if they know that, but why do they sting, and how can we find which ones, how can we know which ones sting and which ones are just annoying? So let's just get that right
Oh.
out because that was the most popular
Well,
question.
I think they all sting. And when we look at bees in general, we don't think just honeybees. We see honeybees, we see wasps, we see hornets, we see all these different stinging insects that are yellow and black, and say, "Oh, that bee's going to sting me." Really, the honeybee itself is the only one with a barbed stinger. So if you ever heard that, I don't know if it's a myth or what, but where if you get stung, you got to get the stinger out. A honeybee is the only one that will leave the stinger in, and they're the only ones that will die. So they're not really apt to sting as much. It's what's called the ground bees. The ground bees are probably the ones that people get stung by the most, and those are actually a wasp. They're not really bees.
So okay, let me see. I think we have pictures of these. We have pictures of the ones because I want to know, okay, so there's one that the ones are bright yellow. Like they're just like bright yellow that they just like don't touch me. Are those the ones that like
Same thing in all of nature. The brighter color something is, the more outstanding they are, the more they say, stay away because I've got something dangerous for you, something you're not gonna like.
Right. Okay. Okay. So the second question was, once you get stung, right? What is the best way to take care of that?
Benadryl.
Really? Okay.
If you get stung by a bee, what happens is that your system goes into it starts producing histamines. So you want an antihistamine to prevent that.
Okay.
There's something that works great out in the field. It's called plantain, broadleaf plantain. It's a very common in most people's yards who don't have the fertilization going on and whatever the green machine lawn care, whatever it is. The plantain can be found very, very prevalent in most people's yards. You chew it up, you put it on your sting, and it takes the pain away almost instantly.
Okay.
And that works. I've tried it for honeybees and I've tried it for wasps, and it works for several different stings that I've had.
Well, we will take your word for it there, Bill. But it is, people put different things, and some people don't like taking, medicine. So if there is an alternative like the plantain leaves, and if they have it, right, that's a good thing. So for you, my people, my ladies and my gentlemen who asked that question, there you are. There's the whole thing. So then now, Bill, before we get into more details about what are honeybees, like what when they take residence in our house, what should we do, right? Before we get into all of that, allow me to share a story with you. Okay, so once upon a time, on a nice summer day, I was with my children, and there was I went to the store in the car, and then there was this bees just, and I'm like, oh shoot, I realized that once all the kids were out. So this bees just went for it. They just like attacked my nephew, and my nephew's just freaking out. And then I have my son who was 6 years old, and I had him on the side of my hip, and I'm like, and then my other daughter's freaking out. So I'm like, oh my God, back into the car. And we got it all into the car. The two boys got stung. My daughter didn't, and I didn't either. So if that happens to me again, hopefully not, or somebody else, what should we do to avoid getting stung and freaking out and all of that stuff?
Well, wherever you're at, it depends on the type of bee it is. If it's honeybees, chances are it's probably not honeybees. Chances are it's a wasp. And the reason they're coming to sting is because you've violated their personal space. Where if they're ground bees, you might have stepped on a nest. If they've got a nest hanging from a tree or some other thing, you might have bumped into it or just come close to it. And they got a pretty mean disposition anyway. And
But
they just seem to like to sting.
they left the
So
sting. They left the sting on my
Mhm.
nephew's ear. So it's the honeybee, right? Is that what you
Okay.
said? Yeah.
So if it's a honeybee and it stings you, it's probably because you swatted at it and you may have squished it. You may have caused it bodily harm, because they do not sting away from home unless somebody's attacking them personally.
We're
So,
not talking
and that
about it.
happens to me. That happens to me. A bee stings lands on me. I've learned to brush it away real soft and gentle, where if I accidentally squish a bee, that's when I get stung. I don't get stung anymore by just a defensive bee because it's, upset for the day, or, had a bad night's sleep, or, whatever people do to get angry. They're hungry, They really are only defensive if somebody is disrupting their nest, or if somebody hurts an individual bee, like starts to squish it, or hurts it in some other way.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if it got into an ear and he smacked it,
Mhm.
that's when it was.
Well, I
So
mean, like,
it goes to me.
you guys watching, I mean, what do? I mean, when you see a bee, the first thing you do is like, so you think you're gonna go like, oh, bee, get out of here. We're gonna flick that thing, right? So it's like, I mean, like,
It sounds simple. I met a beekeeper this morning, and we were by some bees, and all of a sudden I said, "How long you been keeping bees?" "Oh, about 8 years." He said, and then all of a sudden there was some bees flying around. He started freaking out. He started swatting at them. I'm like, 8 years? Uh-oh. So it doesn't come naturally not to swing at bees. It doesn't come naturally not to swat. It's something that really takes practice and it has to be learned.
yeah. Okay, so let's. I'm gonna play a video for you guys and for you, Bill. So let's see the video of you trying to, like, I don't know. I don't know what you were doing there because I still can't figure it out. Here we go.
Oh. Right there. That's just a flavor of springtime. Oh, so good.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. What were you
So
trying
that
to
was in the
do?
middle of my job.
Okay.
Yeah, that was in the middle of one of my jobs where if you look behind me, there was bees in the wall, and I was
Yes.
removing the colony of bees from the wall. And of course, bees make honey, and it's delicious. And you can see I was here in that video. I was having trouble getting my hood unzipped, so I kind of
Right,
just stuck my
right.
face out of it, so it looked kind of funny. Um, but that is the best honey there is, straight out of the comb, still warm from the hive. It just takes on a flavor that is just unlike anything else.
Oh
And on
my
top of that,
God.
I think I just mentioned pollen in there. Bees don't only have honey, they make honey from the nectar of the flowers. They also collect the pollen. The pollen is their protein source and their vitamin source. And they use the pollen, they pack it into the honeycomb to feed their young and to feed themselves. And when I find that in there, it's just they kind of ferment it, they ferment it a little bit, add a little bit of honey to it, and it just tastes like whatever they've been foraging on. It tastes like apple blossom or corn. I've had corn pollen, and it just tastes like eating a fresh ear of corn. It's amazing.
That's awesome. And that goes, because that was one of my questions. When I go buy honey and I want to put honey on my tea, there's some honeys that are stronger in taste, and then it just takes over. They're too powerful. And then I used to see dandelion or like mesquite kind of a thing. So that's interesting. So whatever they what is it? What's it called? Pollinate? Whatever they.
They collect nectar from the flowers. I mean, if you get apple blossom honey, it's not going to taste like apple. It'll taste like whatever the flower tastes like. If you get orange blossom honey, it's not going to taste like oranges, but orange blossom is a very sweet honey. I've heard dandelion honey is a little bit more bitter. Buckwheat honey is the strongest honey there is. They make it's a very dark honey. So if you're looking for a honey that's just sweet and clean, you get a very light colored honey. If you want something that's very robust and packs a punch or a very strong flavor, you get a very dark honey. And then there's the whole array in between.
Okay. Well, it makes sense that the dandelion honey will taste bitter because dandelion is kind of bitter, right? So that makes sense. You know, my people, when I go shopping for honey now, it's all going to be different. The whole thing is going to be different. Thank you to you, Bill. And somebody else is saying thank you to you there. Kate, Kim, thank you, Kim. Says great info. More people need to learn to embrace the honeybees. Yes. So Kim, do you have honeybees? Like, do you farm? Do you call them farming honeybees? Is that what it is, Bill?
Just beekeeping.
Beekeeping, okay. So the beekeeping, because it's like, I mean, you get bees. So let's talk about when you get that call. Let's talk about when people are like, oh my God, I have a bee nest in my house. Like, what do we do when they take residence in our house? You know, just like.
Well, the first thing I hear is I've got crazy bees in my yard, in my house. What's going on? So the first thing I say is, well, we've got this wonderful technology. Send me a picture. And I go on about how there are 420 plus different bees that live in our area. And a lot of them look a lot like the honeybee. Some require an exterminator depending on where they're at. Wasps can actually chew through sheetrock and get into the house, where honeybees will actually make things nicer and create a better environment in the home.
Oh, look at that, so cute.
You know, not necessarily you want the buzzing around your head, but as far as the structure of a home.
Okay.
So after I get a picture of the bee, I identify it, and then I make a recommendation after that. Sometimes the homeowner can take care of the problem. Sometimes they have to call an exterminator, and then other times when it is a honeybee, I'll actually go out and then make a plan with the homeowner and see what we can do to get them out of there the safest way. Sometimes, and I think this is great, I've met a few people who like the bees in their house, and that's awesome. There's I took one hive out of the side of a wall which is adjacent to their bathroom. They called me up a week later and said, oh, I just can't relax in there like I used to. It's just I don't hear the hum of the bees. It doesn't smell as nice in there anymore because they could smell the hive in there and hear the hum of the bees, in the bathroom. So it was very comforting to them, and they missed it. Another woman had bees in their living room, in the ceiling in their living room, and
wait,
they were having work done on the house.
Were they inside, or were they like just?
Oh. Bees are always inside a cavity, so they're going to be in the interior of the wall where the insulation should be, or they're going to be between the floor joists, or in the ceiling. And this one person just wanted, she was having work done on the house. She wanted me to come over and protect her bees from the workers, so I helped the bees, direct them so that the bees wouldn't sting the construction workers. And then after they were all done, I removed the guards so the bees could go about being bees and continue to live there happily. It's really cool.
Oh, wow. Okay. So she left the bees there. It's okay. So they closed the bees again. So those are the bees that don't destroy things.
Right, the honeybees.
Right, the honeybees.
One bee that we all love.
Okay, we love them. We love honeybees. Okay, we do. So the yellow jackets are the ones that we just have to stay away from those things. Yes?
Yeah, yellow jackets get in the house. Sure, wasps or hornets, they can start chewing through wires and start chewing through sheetrock and actually get into the house. And they're the ones with that kind of evil disposition where they just want to come and get you.
They are evil. They're leaving.
Stay out of my way. I'm making this space my own, and you need to go, is what they say. So we gotta get the upper hand and get rid of them.
And they. Oh my God. Okay. I'm so, can you remind me again, Bill? Because I'm so confused. Okay. So the honeybee you said are the only ones who sting, but yellow jackets are mean, but they don't. Do they sting too? And they're
Oh, they sting a lot worse. Honeybees don't have as powerful a venom
okay.
as the wasps do. They're actually meat eaters, whereas honeybees just feed on flowers and pollen. So the wasps and hornets, because they feed on meat, which is other insects,
Oh
and
wow.
they create a more powerful venom, and they hurt a lot more, and
Listen.
they can sting more. They can sting more than once. Unlike the honeybee, can only
Oh,
sting one time and then it dies.
you know those yellow jackets. Okay, okay, okay. Let me see. Wait, let me go to the comments and see what's going on. Okay, so we have Aaron. Okay, Aaron, hi. Thank you for being here. All right, so fulgens. What is? Let me see. Okay, any instance where the bees will attack us while inside the house?
Honeybees? No. Except
Okay.
if, like I said before, if you accidentally, if they land on you and you squish them, or you lean against one and you don't know it's there. Uh, However, if they are wasps and they come into the room, like I said, they want to make that territory their own and they want you to leave.
Oh, Jesus.
So if you see a wet spot on your wall or you hear some chewing in there, you got to find out immediately what they are and take steps to prevent them from coming in.
Okay, so for you, people will call for honeybees, right? They will call you, and then for the wasp or yellow jackets, they will call an exterminator. Is that what it is?
Right, yeah. So
Okay.
an exterminator can come in and destroy a nest and just leave them be.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas honeybees, because they put all that honey and pollen and beeswax inside of a wall, if you kill them inside your wall, you're going to end up with honey that drips down inside your wall. You're going to end up with a big mass of rotting bees. It's going to smell really bad. It's going to invite other pests. So good exterminators will actually tell you to call me to have honeybees removed.
Okay.
And otherwise, if you call me and they're not bees, I'll recommend or they're not honeybees. If they're a wasp, I'll
Mm-hmm.
recommend an exterminator.
And when you get those calls for honeybees because you keep them, you get happy, right? You're like, yes, more honeybees. Yes.
Sometimes, sometimes I try to save the bees.
Okay.
Uh, Most of the time, they make the trip safely. Sometimes I bring them home and they look like they're doing fine, and they say, "Hey, we don't like it here." And they'll just get up and leave.
Oh, okay,
And other
okay.
times they might be sick and they might not be able to make the trip.
Oh,
But
okay.
I do my best to take care of them and give them a new home where they can go on about their business of being a bee.
Yeah. Let's watch another video. Let's watch another video of you. Let me see. Let's see this one. We already saw that one. So let's see what this one. The music. The music you had.
It
For
calms the
real.
bees.
It calms the bees. Okay, okay, whatever it takes.
It calms me, and to be around bees like that, I have to be relaxed. I have to be chill, because if not, the bees know that I'm anxious. They know that I'm scared, and if they know that, then they'll say, "Hey, this is a victim here. We're gonna get him." So
Yeah, but like
as
what
long as I
you just okay, so honeybees are peaceful and they're like, okay, I'm just gonna like walk around. So if they see you moving a little bit weirdly, they're gonna think that you're attacking them and they're gonna sting you. Is that
they don't like fast movements, and they can
okay?
smell fear. They can when you have an adrenaline rush or you have an anxiety, the smell will come out through your pores, and the bees will be able to smell that and they'll react accordingly.
Oh my god, I will be attacked. I mean, that's
So
probably why.
it's
Okay. Okay, so people are reacting. They're like, "You're crazy. You're crazy doing that stuff." But hey, whatever. Okay. Glad, Aaron. Glad you live in New York City. Okay. Yes, New York City does have worse things. They do, like rats and cockroaches and all this stuff. But it's all good.
there are a lot of rooftop beekeepers in New York City. There's actually a Queens Beekeeper Guild out there that encompasses most of New York City, even though it's
Oh,
Queens, but they go out to Long Island and everything.
nice. Okay. So if you say, right, that being around bees keeps you calm, you call the zen, behind the scenes, and it keeps you all calm and things like
Yeah.
that to be able to do this. It is great to see that your children are getting that skill early. So let's check out some of your children here pictures. Look at them, you guys. They're just starting early.
Yep,
Look
that's
at
my oldest
them.
on the left, and that's my youngest on the right. The oldest is sitting there. He's helping me remove a colony from someone's home. My Charlie in the middle there, she is now 8. That's at this New York State Fair at the gazebo where they keep the live bee demonstration.
Mm-hmm.
So we might be there this year. Hopefully it's open this year.
Right, hopefully.
And then my youngest is he won't let me go to the bee yard without him.
He is adorable. And look at him all cute with that little soul. I mean, and then we have your other one, right? She's just
That's
eating.
Natalie. She is. That's the best picture I could come up with quick. I don't have one of her in a bee suit or in the bee yard. She doesn't care.
No, she's over
This is
there.
what she does best.
I love it. She's over there eating the pancakes, and I hear you make like amazing pancake squash or something like that. But and she eats
Oh
it,
yeah,
so
those,
she's the eater.
everything.
Okay, and so we have a question. So Aaron is saying, "Oh my God, like really? If it's there's a big beekeeper in New York City, so he's like surprised about that to know that." So yes, and then he's saying that this is really interesting. I've never been interested in bees before, but I will be on the lookout now. Yes, good for you, Aaron. That's the thing because I had an experience when I was little, you guys, and I can't show you, but I have like a big scar on the side of my head that my family says that it was a bee, and then like I went like dead or something like that, and I would think that I will have like bee powers or something like that, but I have no bee powers. I really don't. So, all right, so Bill, let's check out more pictures so you can tell us more about it. So this nest, talk to us about this one here.
So the one on the left is what's called an open air hive, and this is very rare in our area, in this northern area. It happens a lot more in the south. But what happens is the bees land someplace and they just decide to start making comb, and they usually like to live inside a cavity where they can guard an entrance. This hive will never make it in our environment. The one on the right there is a swarm, and that's what
Okay.
happens this time of year. Is you might see a swarm like that in late May, early June is the prime swarm season here in central New York.
Oh my God. Okay, so people call you and they say like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh," because that happened to me. That's another story, right? On a nice summer day. It was probably what, May, you said? We saw all these bees, you guys, Bill, like they were just coming, right? And we're like, "Oh my God." And we ran inside the house, right? All of us ran inside the house. And then we went to the window, and all of the bees at the same time went to the tree. And all of a sudden, there was one of these right here on the right, on the tree.
Yep.
And within minutes, they just got that thing. They were like, "What the hell?" So we called somebody. I didn't know you at that time, Bill, so I couldn't call you. I don't know. Right? So, but they were there, and then somebody came and took them all safely and all of that. But that was scary because they all came, like all swarmed, like, and you could hear the buzz, and they were probably looking for me. They were probably looking for me because I have bee powers.
Says it's the one here. Let's go this
Right.
way. That's a swarm of bees, though. There's probably 20 to 40,000 bees in a swarm like that.
Oh my
And it's only
God.
honeybees that swarm. Only honeybees that will have that behavior. And it happens this time of year because it's the way the bees, and all the bee ever wants to do is to reproduce, just like at all the other parts of nature.
Yeah, and
So half
yeah.
the colony leaves. Yeah, half the colony leaves the original nest, and they go out searching for a new nest. So what you saw was they
Mm-hmm.
were leaving their home, and then they go out and they land on a tree like that.
It was a blossom
And then
tree.
from there, the swarm, the cluster that lands on the tree,
Mm-hmm.
of all those bees, they send out some scout bees to look for a new home. And once those bees report back and say, "Hey, I got a great spot," they all get up and they go and make a new home in that location that was discovered by those scout bees.
Aw,
But
I mean
in that sense, that cluster of bees,
mm-hmm.
they could do a couple of things. They could find a place in a tree. They could find a place in your home, or they could just stay there. And that's what happened in an open air hive. They couldn't decide on where to go, so they started making honeycomb right where they're at. And they're not going to live there. They're gonna die over the winter from exposure.
Aw, okay, okay.
They say 20%, about 20% of those swarms, those cluster of bees like you see in the tree there,
Mm-hmm.
will make it their first year. Will survive their first year. But if you call a beekeeper, and a beekeeper can pick them up, you're going to raise that percentage to about 80% survival. So if you see something
Okay.
like that on the right, call a beekeeper and have them pick it up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, from now on, you guys. So the ones that are swarming, the ones that are on the tree, they're honeybees. So we call a beekeeper. Yes, and then we call a
Yep.
beekeeper. Okay. Okay, you guys. Yes. All right. So you have a couple of comments, a couple of questions here. Bill, one of them is asking if you make your own honey. Aaron is asking.
I collect the honey from the bees and I bottle it up and I put it for sale. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So wait, what kind of honey is your honey? Like, is it dandelion? What is it?
In order to get a specific honey, you have to be really interactive with the bees. You got to know what they're watching, what flowers they're foraging from, and collect the honey during that time that the flower is in bloom. I don't have that kind of time. I got 4 kids, so I'm pretty busy with that.
Okay.
And so what I have is I'll have spring honey and I'll have summer wildflower honey and sometimes fall honey. It's usually, hey, I got light honey and dark honey. That's just what
Okay.
it
Okay.
is. But
Okay. Okay.
it's delicious either way.
Yeah, I mean like honey is good. But I'm gonna have to try some of yours now because I mean like I have to see like now I feel like I know your bees. And this is what like I want to have a better relationship with them because they're part of our, they make honey and they're like you just said right now, they don't mean to hurt us. Um they just don't want to be bothered. But then the yellow jackets, those I think it was one of them who got me. Because I mean a honeybee would not get me that bad, right? It was yeah.
Well, yeah, the venom is much stronger and when the venom actually breaks down cellular walls, and that's what causes the pain. So probably a wasp or a hornet.
Yeah.
On the subject of honey, though, there is a difference between the honey you get in the store and the honey you get from a beekeeper. The honey you get from the store has been overly filtered and overly pasteurized, or just pasteurized in general, and that destroys a lot of the flavor and a lot of the natural benefits honey seems to have to it. If you get it
Mm.
from a beekeeper, it still has pollen in it. It still has all the natural enzymes. It hasn't been, you look for raw honey. Raw honey is supposedly not heated, and it
Mhm.
has just like the honey out that comes out of a hive.
Right.
But the best honey of all is the honey in the comb, well, out of the hive, like you saw in that video earlier. But
You
if
were
you get
having fun in
comb
that
honey,
video.
yeah, it was great. It was a beautiful day, and there were some good bees there.
Yeah.
But the comb honey, it's just each little cell of honey, it's just like burst with flavor, and each one is its own unique flavor. It's really amazing, and because
That's
it's not oxidized, it's never touched oxygen before. It just the flavor is very intense in comb honey. I mean, if you don't
aw.
like the wax, you can spit it out, or you can just take a spoon and just press comb honey and take the honey out of the wax that way, and just eat the honey that way. It's delicious. I'll
That's
bring you
awesome.
some. I
That's
will.
awesome. Yeah, I would love to try it because I'm from the Dominican Republic, so we had those and we used to eat them, but I don't remember. I think I used to spit all the wax. Yeah. So speaking of that, so
Mhm.
what is the comb made of? Like what is it? What do they, you know?
It is beeswax. The beeswax produce a wax, kind of like a gland, a secretion. It squeezes out in a liquid, and then the liquid evaporates off it, and it condenses into wax.
Mm.
And the bees take it and they chew on it and they form it into their honeycomb. We use it for a lot of different cosmetics, different lotions and things, candles. There's a lot of other things that can be used for, like furniture polish or crayons. There's a encaustic painting is a form of painting that uses beeswax, which is really cool.
Wow. You see, this is all honeybees. Okay, you guys, we just gotta say hi to the honeybees. Yes. So here's a question. Hi James, thank you for being here. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so Aaron wants to know if you have a YouTube channel. And yes, you
Yes,
do. Yes. So what is the name of it? Go ahead.
it's all better. Just like
Hmm.
behind me here, it says itsallbetter.com behind, if you could x-ray vision through this chair. It's all better. So if you go YouTube/ it's all better or itsallbetter.com, I think it's even, I don't know if I got Facebook like that or not.
Yeah, I have your information. But you guys, if you guys are loving this content, if you guys are loving this content, please just give us a like right here and love anything that you want. Share this content as well. And we come live every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next Thursday, though, we're going to be talking about natural products that you can use in your house. It doesn't have any chemicals and things like that, things that you find in your house or the grocery store that are good for the environment and for our bodies. So now, okay, so Bill, another question that we have here that it was okay. Yes, okay. The cartoons, yes, they make bees look bad. They do. Like for real. Like bees are like poor things, but at the same time, they might be referring to yellow jackets. So if it's yellow jackets, I'll join into the like hating movement of that. And um
Well, Winnie the Pooh is the Disney's, they've lied to us since we were kids. That nest that you see on the outside that Winnie the Pooh's always chasing, those are
yes.
hornets. Those
Oh
are not
my god.
honeybees.
So you okay. So they're probably trying to make the Hornets look good. I don't know why, because if kids try going to the Hornets, they're gonna get bitten. I mean, stung and all of that bad things, right?
That's
So they
right. My
should.
first experience with hornets was in an apple tree. I said, well, let's pick these apples up and throw it at that nest. It says
Oh
bees
my
will come out.
god.
And they sure did. So we ran away and jumped in the lake.
Wait, so is that true? So if you jump in the lake, they just go away?
No, not really. You got to swim away underneath water for a while so they can't track you.
And like
But
you're gonna die. You're gonna die down there. So okay, Aaron. Okay, what is this? What kind of honey is that, Bill?
Manuka honey. Manuka
Mm-hmm.
honey is from New Zealand, and it's from a special plant that it makes that they say has a higher antibacterial property to it. And they say they use Manuka honey in dressings for wounds. Burn victims use honey, and it's usually the Manuka because it's the most powerful antibacterial type honey there is. But in general, raw honey from a beekeeper does wonders. My daughter had open heart surgery, and she's got this big scar here. And they couldn't give her antibiotics because of the type of what was going on with her. We weren't allowed to put on like bastration or any other triple antibiotic ointment.
Mm-hmm.
So we used honey, and the very next day the redness went away, the swelling went down, and everything else. It's really quite amazing stuff.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's what it is, because it's not, like you just mentioned, it's not pasteurized. It's just nature, right? It hasn't been touched by men. I mean, like, humans, I guess. And that's
Right.
just awesome. And I get my honey, right? I usually, when I go to the farmer's market, or there's a farm stand, I try getting it there, because I know it's a little bit more pure than at the stores. But knowing now the differences between, and I can ask questions such as, like, when I go to the farm stand or something like that, I can ask questions like, how well do you know your bees? Where are the flowers in this, right? So you guys, we're about to all be really smart about bees here, thanks to Bill. So, all right, so Bill, let's talk about the queen bee, because I mean, like, on the little bit of time that we have left, we have to talk about the queen bee, right? And there's some questions
Right.
that came in, but one question that I have first is that you mentioned, right, behind the scenes, that the male bees are kicked out of the hive in autumn only, and the females
Right.
live through the winter. So,
Yes.
like, what happens? They all die? Like, where do they go? Where did the males go? Like, the females just stay in the.
To to the compost pile. They just go out there in the field and they die, and they get recycled into plants. Um,
So,
but yeah, there's
how did
three
they
types of
get?
bees.
How do they get? How do they mate if they're all dead? So male bees come into the colony and conquest.
So the way it works is there's the one queen bee in each colony. They always have one. If there's more than one for some reason, if two queen bees are hatched, they'll fight to the death until there's just one.
Mm.
So the one queen bee lays all the eggs. She gets to choose if they are male bees or female bees. The female bees do all the work. They do all the collecting. They're the ones with the stingers.
Mm.
Where the male bees, they go out, and their purpose is to pass on their genetics. And the queen bee, it's just her genetics, because she only gives them their genetics. She doesn't fertilize the eggs. It's an unfertilized egg that becomes a male. And then, so the queen can live up to 5 to 7 years,
Okay.
where the workers, they don't tend to live more than 180 days, and that's only in the winter.
Mm.
The drone bees, or the male bees, the queen will lay more in the spring. We'll have a lot of male bees being born in the spring, and then they'll go out and find a queen that she goes out one time in her life to be mated. So when a new queen is born, she'll go out and fly, and these drone bees will find her. About 12 to 24 will mate with a single queen. The queen will go back to the hive, and then she'll stay in the hive and lay up to 2,000 eggs a day for the rest of her life.
Oh my God! Just with the 24, you said 24 drones.
Yep. She stores all the sperm in an organ called the spermatheca, and she releases a few at a time every time she lays an egg. So the egg will be fertilized as it comes out, or it won't be if she chooses to lay a male bee.
Okay, so she lives for 8 years and she only goes out once. So all this time, like, when she went out once, she got all the eggs to lay for 8 years.
All the sperm to lay for 8 years. Yeah, from
Oh,
the drones.
wow.
Yep, it's pretty amazing.
It is amazing.
That's the high end of her life. Usually they only live for 2 to 3 years. The extended period is when conditions are just right. And the world just isn't that way, as good as we want it to be.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing.
It
So,
truly is.
yeah, you guys, do you have any questions about this? What do you guys think about it? That's amazing. So let's talk about how the queen bee is chosen. Like, how is she chosen? Who chooses the queen bee?
The workers will choose to raise eggs, because any female egg, any fertilized egg can become a queen bee. The worker bees choose which one to do it to, and they just continue to feed her a diet of royal jelly, which is bee milk. The honeybee actually eats food and then secretes a liquid from a gland that's a whole food to feed their young. That same liquid, which is just like females make milk, which is why they're called nurse bees, will feed the queen her entire life this bee milk, this royal jelly. So she gets royal jelly her entire life, whereas the worker bees will only get it for the first 3 days of their life. And the difference being is that the queen, they become queens because of the diet. And a few other factors in there, but mainly that's the big one.
So it's just like a lucky thing then. It's like, okay, we're gonna choose you to make you the queen because there's not a
is it really that great to be a queen bee?
No, it isn't.
Just lay eggs all day. You don't get to go outside, smell the fresh air.
Right.
When you're born, if there's more than one queen in there, I guess they'd be princesses before they go out and get mated. But they're gonna fight to the death until there's just one. So it's a pretty brutal, rough life to be a queen.
It is. I mean, like the other queen can just say it could be like, I don't want to be a queen. You can take that job, right? Right. I mean,
you don't really get a choice.
Oh my gosh, that's true because you're chosen. So she has the royal milk. So did they communicate? They communicate that she is going to be the queen, or is there like a specific suit that they wear, like that we will know what who the queen is? Is there like how do we differentiate between
As a beekeeper, I could tell the difference because she's longer. Her abdomen extends past her wings.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the other bees, their abdomens are even with the tips of their wings. The way she acts is different. The size is different. As far as the bees themselves, when they choose one to raise it as a queen bee, I have no idea. The little bee minds is really incredible, and there's still so much, probably an infinitely amount of knowledge that we can gain from learning from the bees.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. So here's the question from Fulgence. Can we differentiate between male and female bees?
Yes. Male bees have great big eyes. Like their whole head is eyes. And they're very large. They got a very bulbous rear end, where a female bee has small eyes on the sides of their heads. And they have a pointy rear end because that's the stingy end there.
Got it. Okay. There we go. So let's see this other thing right here. Look at this. Let's talk about this there, Bill.
Right. So these are the swarms. This is their reproduction cycle. The queen will lay eggs to become new queens, and she will leave with half the workforce. And this is what you talked about, you saw, where the big cloud or tornado of bees comes out and then just clusters onto a tree branch.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they're doing. And this is a pretty docile. This is probably the most docile time in the bees' life because they don't have a home right here. This is just they can't temporarily camp out looking for a new home.
Mm-hmm.
And they... So you can get right up there and touch them. I mean, I don't recommend that because you can squish them and you get stung. But
yeah,
as a beekeeper, I can go up there and just scoop them into a box and bring them home and set them up.
Okay, so you were talking about don't invade the space and things like that, and then you are right in their homes, like right there. So you're good with that there, Bill? Like you were looking all good and you're like, do not invade their homes. And you're like,
right, because that's not their home. They're just hanging out. It's called a bivouac. And a bivouac is a temporary encampment without shelter or cover. And they're just there hoping nobody's going to bother them until they can find a permanent place to set up home.
Okay. So when we see this, they're actually out of their element and they're like, we're just going to stay still here, be quiet until they come back and tell us that they found a home.
Right. And this is the
Okay.
time you want to get a beekeeper involved. Beekeeper will come pick them up. The other possibilities, they move in the side of your house, and then you got to call me. So,
Yeah. Let's continue this situation. Let's see more pictures. Oh my God. This just
so
looks
the one on the left,
aggressive.
that's what they are. They're the one on the left. This is what you see in
In
Winnie the
horror
Pooh
movies.
flicks. is these round paper or basketball type shape, whatever. They're usually found in trees and in bushes, and at top of a roof, right there, roof line where you can see. The one on the left is actually bald-faced hornets. You can't see them, but they're white and black. The one on the right is a yellow jacket, and these are meat eaters, and they produce a sting again and again. Also, they are, even though they are a scary thing, they're actually very beneficial to the environment because they, especially gardens and things, because they are predators of insects that eat plants. They're predators of spiders that get in your doorway and you walk into a house at night and
Do they eat
get your spider web
mosquitoes?
across your face. I don't know about mosquitoes.
See, I
I
don't
don't
like
know.
them. I mean, if at least they ate
Usually,
mosquitoes, right? Like, I would, no. That's
yep. But they
insane.
they they collect one bug. They just collect bugs to feed their young. That's all they do. Where honeybees collect honey to feed their young.
Got it. Okay, okay. Yeah, this is aggressive. So it is safe to say that if someone sees this, they just literally don't like step away, do not even try. And then
Right.
this one
And
is when they go ahead.
if it's in a walkway or a common pathway of people, you want to call an exterminator to get them out because somebody will eventually get stung from them being there.
I would say this is that oh my gosh. Okay, so we learned a couple of things, right? And I like Yellow Jacket less now, right? Because I know that they were the ones who gave me that thing here. That thing on the side. I'm gonna post a picture for you guys so you guys can see. That thing is big. It's a big scar that I have on the side of my head. But okay. So Bill, anything else that you think will be of benefit to us when it comes to now the summer, right? The summer coming in, we're going to be seeing all these bees around us and things like that. Is there anything that you want to, for our children so we can tell them or for ourselves anything that you might want to add?
Don't freak out. A lot of the times the wasps are the ones that come to the picnic. They're the ones that come. They got a sugary drink or something. They'll come in and want a piece of it.
The wasp are the one who do that.
It's if you start swatting at them, that's when they get aggressive. So if you just get up and move away and just leave them be, they'll go off on their own.
Okay.
As if there's a nest that you know of that is out, like I said, if it's it's an area where people are a lot, you want to call an exterminator and get it out of there. But if it's off in the distance and it's there, let them be because they are beneficial. They all are. They're all here for a reason. They all got their purpose. And if they're not bothering people, just leave them alone, and they'll leave you alone.
If you say so. But for those local people, and actually, Bill, you do Zoom meetings and things like that, right? To talk about bees. So anyone
Yes.
who, okay. So talk to us a little bit about that. I'm gonna bring in your website, okay, so that we can see a little bit of what and just let me know where you want me to go here on your website.
So if you go to events in the top right corner, and if you're on a mobile device, it's going to be those three little bars to bring up the menu. You go to events, and that shows the Zoom classes I'm having, which are twice a month, and events. And it'll also bring up some in-person things that are happening. The end of May. Are we in May?
Yeah, we're in
February,
May.
March, April, May. Yeah,
I do
5.
believe. Yeah, we're in May.
Oh, the days blend together. The months blend together. I had to do some math to figure out how old I was the other day.
You know what? That
But
happens.
yeah, the end of this month, just passed there on the 29th. There's actually a free session where I go through and there's a bunch of people show up and we talk about bees. Uh,
Okay. And this
but
is going to be in
they're always
Zoom?
online. On the 29th, no, that's in person.
Okay, okay. Oh,
People
yeah,
actually
yeah.
show up in my bee yard and to see some live bees. And I'll talk about how a smoker works and the hive tools and different protective type gear used by a beekeeper and how to interact with bees if you have a hive and you're going through it
Mm-hmm.
and different items like that.
I can see how, you know, being involved with bees will keep us, like you're saying, will keep us calm in other situations, and how that can help us, with people. Because if
There
we're
is there is a program. There's many programs for like veterans and people with PTSD that get hives into or get them into hives and working with bees. But I think I had ADHD really bad, and I'd drift off and say, "Oh, look, a chicken," and just start talking about that over there,
mm-hmm.
and forget what was going on over here. With the bees, if I'm not really focused and really paying attention to what I'm doing and very deliberate about my movements and actions, the bees will sting me and let me know that I'm not focusing. So it brings in practice and focus, uh, calmness, and learning to not let the anxiety get the best of me. And that helps with me with my children. So when
Good.
they want to cause me anxiety, I can, all right, chill out, let them be. And same thing with people out in social events. It's, hey, I learn to breathe deeper and learn to focus and calmness can come to any interaction in any relationship, and the practice really comes in the bee yard, and that's what helps with PTSD is people get
Okay.
that practice and pushes them to learn to almost like meditation where you
Yeah.
can feel calmer and breathe deeper and bring that back to your own life when those that really disrupt your core being. You can say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, go back and do that
Right.
Zen activity. It's really,
Yeah.
really great and helpful,
That's
therapeutic.
yeah, it sounds like it. So let's go to your oh my gosh, the last I think we have all the pictures that we've covered before we go, right? We have this one. Yeah, we covered all of them. All right, great. So I just wanted to make sure. So now we're gonna do your website, your Facebook, right? So if
Yep.
you guys want to join, there you go ahead. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to get there. Oh, is that's Central New York Beekeeper School? Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah,
And
so that's you.
yeah, CNY Beekeeper School. Um, yeah, that's where we do the Facebook lives for the because we do the Zoom meetings and then of course we broadcast it to Facebook Live also. That's where you can interact and ask questions, find out what's going on. People give a lot of beekeeping advice on there. Different myths are explained and whatever other questions that go on there.
Okay, so
So
for everybody.
eventually it'll be the meetings will be back in person because I started the Central New York Beekeeper School a bit over a year ago, and then of course the pandemic, so it all went
Mm-hmm.
online, and we just haven't gone back in person yet. And then once, hopefully, I know there's people all over the country that are part of that Facebook group now, but the ones that are local, hopefully, will come and meet together and get the club going again.
That's great. That's great. I mean, like I wouldn't be one in the club, not even with the suit, but some people are into that, and that's great. And I have a lot of friends who are starting to do the beekeeping thing. So I'm pretty sure that they will find this information, the classes that you have helpful. So we have, yes, Aaron, we are in New York. We are in New York where their summer is full of beautiful bees. and we have a lot of honey too. So yeah, it's that's right. So okay,
Yeah.
Bill, anything else, last things that we have to do, that you have to say regarding classes? If people want to learn more about bees, what would be the first step for them to to take on? If some people want to learn about bees more and be beekeepers and things like that, what do you suggest they do? Like the first step.
Find a club. Well, like in my area, you can go to itsallbetter.com and you can go to the events and get onto a Zoom meeting, or you can find a Facebook group, or a Cornell, or I don't know if they got it in other states. I know we've got them all over the state here. Cornell Cooperative Extensions, or your local ag type extension.
I'm gonna go to your
and
shop.
Find a beekeeper group in your area, and find another beekeeper and learn from them. I think that's really important, is to learn from another beekeeper, somebody who lives in the same environment, because beekeeping is definitely a local thing. If you're in the north or south or east or west, it is, everything that's done is done based on the local environment. Okay. So it's really important to get somebody local to learn from.
So wait, what do you mean by that? It's done in a local environment? Like what does that mean? Let's close with that, because I don't understand that.
The environment's different everywhere. I mean, down south, it's swimsuit weather already. Up here, we're still got sweatshirts on. So out in California, the growing season's just about over, whereas it's just starting in other places.
Oh, I see what you mean now. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's based on the availability for the bees to collect from flowers. So if there's something flowering, that's where the bees will be. Out in my driveway, I've got a crabapple tree that has just come into bloom, and you go out there and that's all you can hear is buzzing and buzzing. Like there's probably thousands of bees on this one tree. So they're collecting crabapple honey.
Okay.
And and that's what's going on here now, where down south, bees have already gone into the reproductive cycle and have already started creating swarms. And up here, they are just about to. So it's seasonal based. It's growing depending on what's growing and the weather.
Yeah, I was
local environment.
I was that makes sense. I understand that now. I was when I wrote our promo for this episode, I wrote spring is almost here, and someone who lives in New York said spring is already here, and I'm like, not in Syracuse, like we don't have spring yet. Yeah. Like, so it's like very different. But yeah, so Aaron is saying, okay, where are your events, Bill? So Aaron, they are on his website. I'm gonna put it up again, but we're also going to add it to the comments so that you can see it. But you can go to his website under events, and
you can register for an event. You'll get a Zoom link if it's on Zoom, or they're right down the street from my house in Bridgeport, New York.
Okay.
If they're in person.
Yes, there we go. So you guys, oh my gosh, Bill, this was amazing. I feel like we have to do like another class or something about how to like stand up to Yellow Jackets. But it's like now I know a little bit more, and I'll feel a little bit more educated. You know how they say education is power, right? Like information is power. Yeah. So now I'm gonna tell my kids, and I'm gonna be a little bit less freaking out when I see honeybees, right? When I see a swarm of bees, I'll be like, okay, I'm not gonna go play with them, but I know that they are not in their environment and they're kind of just want to chill until the next spot. So I'm not gonna get that freaked out as I used to do before when I saw that, right? I'm okay in thinking that, yes?
Mm-hmm. Okay. If another thought was that if somebody doesn't know what a bee is that's going on out there, if it's a wasp or dangerous or not dangerous, you can send me a picture. I got my phone number and my email address on my website. You can just send me a picture and I'll help you identify it. If you're in a central New York area and they're honeybees, I'll come out and help you with them.
Yes, and give us some of a honeycomb, yum yum yum. Now that Winnie the Pooh one, no, no,
Right, right.
wait. So okay, let's close with this myth or not myth. Do bears really eat honey?
No, they will go into a hive. They will destroy a honeybee hive, but they go in there for the larva. They want the protein. They want to eat the baby bees. The bees go through metamorphosis. We all learned metamorphosis in kindergarten.
Did we really?
The butterfly, the caterpillar makes a cocoon and turns into a butterfly. Well, all insects do that. The bee starts out as an egg, turns into a larvae, goes through a pupal stage, and then emerges in an adult bee. The bears, they want the larvae. They want the protein that's packed into those little baby bees.
Winnie the Pooh, I will see you in a whole different light because homeboy wasn't there eating that honey, right? He was eating the honey.
Well.
It was. Oh my God. Okay. All right. I'm sorry, my Winnie whatever Pooh people, but oh my God. Okay, that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. You guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. I hope this content was useful to you. And like I mentioned before, next week, we're going to be talking about products that are green that you can use to clean your homes, enough like if you have asthma or just want to just have a clean green solution. We're going to teach you how you can do that without, those harsh chemicals. So, and then you guys like us, Officially Unofficial TV, because we do make your life easier one episode at a time. My name is Ana Gil and my guest is Bill Kaufman. Thank you so much, Bill, for being here.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, you guys, thank you so much and have an amazing day. Bye.